Hi everyone, I'm here to do my wrap-up video for the month of February. I had a pretty good reading month. I read 11 books and that's pretty good, especially if you consider that I've had a job for the past 2.5 weeks. Yay, I have a job! I'm so happy. But I was a bit afraid that it would take away some of my reading time or that I would be too exhausted to read. But so far it hasn't, so I really hope that I can continue reading the way I am now. So let's get started. First up, I'm going to talk about the books that I've read on my Kindle. There are 4 of them. The first one that I want to talk about is The Nightmare Garden. I only have this cover. It's not really a cover, it's only the logo. This is the second book in the Iron Codex series. The first one was The Iron Thorn. I absolutely loved that book. It was a great steampunk. I didn't love The Nightmare Garden as much as I did with The Iron Thorn. My main problem was that Ivy, I have no idea how to pronounce her name, but she was a stubborn little girl in this book, and she was a pretty independent, feisty young lady in the first book, and I didn't like that she declined all the help that was offered to her. So I was mainly annoyed by her behavior, and I couldn't enjoy the story fully because of that. I think I gave it 3 out of 5. I'm still looking forward to reading book 3, but book 2 wasn't really my thing. The next book I want to talk to you about is Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and it only has this little hue in my NetGalley arc. It's the first book in the Lunar Chronicles, and it was absolutely amazing. Gave it 4.5 out of 5, mainly because I'm being a little strict with the stars that I give this year. I've noticed that I'm not as likely to give 4 or 5 stars to books, so I'm a bit selective right now. But anyway, I gave it 4.5 out of 5. It was so good. It's a sci-fi retelling of Cinderella, and it's fast-paced. I loved the world building, loved the retelling of Cinderella, I loved Cinder, and I loved the writing style. It was amazing. If you haven't checked out Cinder yet, I really recommend you do, because it's really good. I've heard nothing but good things from other people as well, so it's not just me who loves this book. The next book that I read is one that is probably the worst book that I've read in years, if not ever. I finished it because I got it for review, and I was hoping it got better, but it didn't. It's Life's a Witch by Brittany Geragotelis. Doesn't have a cover. It's basically about this girl who is the queen of the school, and she's a witch. And when their entire coven of adult witches gets killed, she leads the children to revenge. Something like that. It's the most self-centered, arrogant, and just frustrating character I have ever read about is the main character in this book. I was so frustrated. And the only reason I didn't throw this book across the room was because I was reading it on my Kindle and I would probably kill it. But I was so frustrated. The main character didn't like her at all, and the other characters didn't have any personality, so it was so hard to distinguish them from the rest. And when she was talking about one of the characters, I had no idea who she was talking about, because they all appeared the same, because there was no character development and no characterization. But anyway, I don't want to rant about this book. I gave it 1.5 out of 5. That half star is for the prologue, which sounded pretty good, and I have to admit that probably is because the main character is not in it. But yeah, I would not recommend that book. And then last on my Kindle, I read Strange Angels by Lili St. Croix. It looks like this. It's the first book in the Strange Angels series, and I loved it. It was great. I loved how fast-paced it was, how much action there was. The combination of the supernatural characters was really good. Really liked it, and I'm very much looking forward to reading Betrayals, which is the second book in the series. And now I have a big pile of books right beside me that I want to talk to you about. The first book is an adult title. It's Hounded by Kevin Hearne, which is the first book in the Iron Druid Chronicles. Like I said, it's an adult title, but it's really, really good. It's an urban fantasy about this guy Atticus, and he's been a druid for over 2,000 years. And basically, this book is about a old god who is mad at him because he stole a sword, and he wants his sword back. And it's pretty funny. I loved Oberon. Oberon is his dog. He's so funny. I really, really like this book. I will be looking forward to reading the second book in the series because it was just really, really entertaining and I really liked it. Next book is one that I got for review. I read Nightshade, the second book in the Poison Diaries series by Maryrose. The first book was a pretty nice surprise for me. I wasn't expecting it to be as good and as dark as it was. So I was pretty excited to pick up this book, and I think it was just as good as the first one. Really liked it. It's pretty dark. I have to admit I have not really that much experience with historical fiction, but I really, really like this one. It's a combination of historical fiction and some paranormal elements, I guess. But I really, really liked it. I haven't heard much about this series around the blogosphere. But yeah, I gave this 4 out of 5. I really liked it, and I will be looking forward to reading the third book in the series, which will be the last one in the series as well. The ending was not really my thing, but it definitely left some room for a third book in the series. The next book that I've read was The 13th Horseman. This is a middle grade title. It's about a guy who discovers a shed in his garden, and there are 3 men in it, and they claim to be the horsemen of the apocalypse, and they're missing one horseman, and they say that Drake is it, and Drake is a 14-year-old boy. I quite like this one. It was pretty funny at times. I liked the adventure. The only thing that I didn't like was the voice that was used to tell Drake's story, because at one moment he sounded like a 9-year-old boy, and the other moment I thought I was looking at a man, which was a bit confusing. But other than that, I think that this is a great book for reluctant readers. Really liked it, and I gave it 3.5, I think. So yeah. Next book that I read was so good. It was The Ask and the Answer by Patrick Ness, which is the second book in the Chaos Walking trilogy. So good. It was even better than The Knife of Never Letting Go, which I loved. It picks up right after The Knife of Never Letting Go, so there's absolutely no time lapse between that. But it's so good. If you haven't read it, the first book in the series, I definitely recommend you do. I will be hosting Chaos Walking Week in the last week of March, which is so exciting, and I will be posting my review on this one then. Only thing I can say is I definitely recommend picking up this series because it's really good. It's a sci-fi series, takes place in the future, in a pretty special location. And it's basically about this boy named Todd who has to escape his town because of what has happened. So good. Really liked it. So looking forward to reading book 3, The Monsters of Men. Then I have another book that I wasn't really thrilled about. I finished reading this one last weekend, and let's just say it wasn't my thing. I thought it would be really good, but it turned out to be such a disappointment. It's Hollow Pike by James Dawson. This is a debut for 2012, and I was very excited about this one because it's about a girl who moves to a little town called Hollow Pike, and it has a history of witches, and I was hoping to see more of the witches. First up, what I didn't like about this book, I didn't like the characters. They were flat, stereotypical, not developed at all. There were 5 characters that were, that had personality, let's put it that way. The rest was just meh. The writing style was choppy, not fluent. Everything seemed so unbelievable. Didn't like it at all. Was pretty frustrated when I was like 4 or 5 chapters in. But I read on because I hoped I would see some more of the witches. The twist at the end was unexpected, but I didn't like this book at all. I gave it 2 out of 5. Wouldn't recommend it. Then the next one that I've read is another adult title. It's Ecstasy, Unveiled, which is the 4th book in the Demonica series by Larissa Ione. If you've watched my favorite series video, you know that this series is one of my favorites. This is the 4th book. Really liked it. It's not my favorite book in the series because I couldn't really relate to Ides and lore, but it was really good nonetheless. Looking forward to reading the final book in the series. It proves to be quite a great ending from what I've seen at the end of this book. So yeah, I gave this 4 out of 5. I think 3.5, 4 out of 5. Really like this series. If you're into adult paranormal romance, I would definitely recommend picking up the first book in the series. Because yeah, Larissa Ione has great writing style, so I would definitely recommend it. The next book that I read was actually the last book that I finished. I only finished this one last night. And it was Pandemonium by Lauren Oliver. I won an ARC from Leah Clifford's Christmas giveaway. And I was so excited, and it's really good, but I didn't think it was as good as Delirium. I'm not entirely sure what exactly made me like it less, except I didn't really like the then and now structure in the book. But it was still really good. Unfortunately, I was spoiled for what happens at the end, so I knew for the entire book what was going to happen at the end, even though I didn't know it would be happening at the end. But there were some people on Goodreads who posted status updates and stuff like that, and they didn't block it, so I read the spoilers. But it was really good. I couldn't really relate to Lena as much as I did in Delirium. I guess that's part of why I didn't like it that much. But don't let that discourage you, because it's a really good book. I really enjoyed it. Still quite fast-paced. It's intriguing, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the final book. And last but not least, because this is the only book this month that got 5 stars from me, it's Touch of Power by Maria V. Snyder, and it's so good. It's the first book in the Avery of Kazan series, which is also called the Healer series, so I'm not entirely sure what the official title is, because everywhere it says Healer, but on the book it says Avery of Kazan. But anyway, it's the first book in a series. So good. I loved it. I have a video review up. I will leave a linky down below. Really liked it. Loved the characters. Every single character was fleshed out, had personality, was easily recognizable from the rest of the characters. I would know who was speaking from just reading the words, which was awesome. I haven't had that with many books at all. Loved this one. Loved. Cannot wait for Scent of Magic, because this one was awesome. I can go on and on about this book and how much I loved it, but I'll just stop right here and tell you that I would definitely recommend picking up a copy. It's the second book this year that got 5 out of 5. It's such a great book. Loved it, and I would definitely recommend picking up a copy. So that's everything that I read in the month of February. I'm so sorry that the video is all over the place, but I'm pretty much all over the place today, and I have no idea why. But anyway, let me know in the comments below what you've read this month. If there are any books that you would recommend or definitely would not recommend. Because I would love to know what you guys have read this month. And yeah, that's everything for now, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.